Hello guys, welcome to this video. In our last video we talked about routing and controller. So I told you guys that we'll be doing two methods of how we write our controller modules. So this is the first method I did in the last video. So if you have not watched the last video, I will drop the link to on the description of this video so you can follow the previous video. So I will be doing the second method. If you like, you can do this method, but I don't like using it. So you just do module dot export is equal to you put your object, then get home page like this, then your arrow function. I'll take your request and response like this, comma. Then we now return result send hello world. So let me start this my server. Our server is running perfectly fine. So today we'll be looking at status code and we'll be doing some mini project like posting a registration to our backend server. So now status code is what you use as a backend developer. This is what your server used to communicate with the client web browser. So we'll be learning about some status code that you'll be seeing in this video. So you likely use it in your work. So if you want to send a response to the server, you send a status code so that the client web browser will know whether it's an error message or a success message and all that. So go to let's search status code in Node.js. So I moved to educative website. So what is HTTP response dot status code? This property controls the status code that will be delivered to the client when the headers are flushed. So these are English. So now we just want to talk about types of status codes and what they do. You'll be seeing us in this video. I will be using status code. So if I use them, so you can go to this MDN web docs, so you can go and read about status code. So HTTP response status code indicates whether a specific HTTP request has been successfully completed. Responses are grouped in 5 classes. So these are the basics that you need to know for us to continue in this course. So now, informational responses starts from 100 to 199. So success responses start from 200 to 299 and redirection messages 300 to 399. Client error message responses 400 to 499. Server error responses, that's all these things now you will not use them once. So informational responses, if you want to send an informational response to the client web browser, so you use status code ranging from 100 to 199. Then you will be seeing us using 200, 201, 202. That's success responses, that a request is being like is successfully posted. So now redirection message use 300 to 399. That server error, this server error now, when you return this server error, is your internal server error. That's what this one signifies. So you go and learn about it. So you'll be seeing us use it in this video. That's all about status code. You can go and research more on it. So now let's do some mini projects so that you see us we will now use status code, we will now return a status code to the web client web browser. So now close this. So now I will open I'll open my module, my registration module. I will call it registration. Please name your modules according to what you are doing so that you will not be confused later on. So I'll put I'll separate it with a comma. Then here now I will open a try catch block code block of code. So I will console log this error. This try and catch, why I use try and catch here is that in the process of this my code that I will write here, any code that I will write here, in the process while the code is executing, if there is any error, this catch will catch the error. Then I want to console log so that I will get any error that occurs during the execution of this code that will enter inside there. So now if the error occurs, then the error that occurred in the process of this code running is an internal server error, is not an error caused by the user. So now you return a status code, then this is here you now implement the status code that you return. Here you cannot return a status code of 200 because it's not a response message. So we'll return a status code of 500. So we'll be talking about, you'll be seeing me do return rest of status 500.json. We'll be returning our error messages in JSON format. Error dot message, error dot message. So now that's it. So now here now I will now come and do my registration. So in the process of the registration, it's just, for instance, just like a form, a sign up form that has full name, email, phone number and password. So that's just the parameters that we take, and this is a post request. So I will route it, page route. I just copy this. It's a post request. I'll just say registration like this, then dot registration. If you click on it, that's it. So now I will now open my request.body, structure my request.body. Then I will now take the username, f name. I like naming it like this. You name it according to your own terms. Full name, the parameters I'm taking is full name, last name, email and password. So these are my request.body. So parameters. So I destructure them like this, my request.body. So now in this registration, now this is how registration is being done in Node.js. So now in registering this data now, if someone register or signs up in your site, you need to store the person's information to use it and authenticate the user. That's it. So now before storing your data, the data that the user entered from the front end form, you need to validate it here in your controller code. This is the main validation. So now if you don't know how to validate this thing, I will teach you now. We will do it now. So now we will be using what we call regular expression to validate dis data, dis full name, first name, last name, email and password. We'll be using regular expressions. So but if you don't know what is regular expression, if you have not come in contact with it, you can just visit regular regular expression in JavaScript. Go to this. So now Mozilla developer.mozilla.org. This is the site that you can get more detailed explanation of how regular expressions work. So here you construct your regular expression using patterns, using simple patterns. So you can come and read about it here, character classes, assertions. So all these, they have what they do. So this regular expression is explained better in the JavaScript course. So if you have not followed the video, I will drop the link to the video. You go and read about, you follow the video so that you understand regular expressions very well. So but if you don't still understand, you can come to this site, you read more about it, so you get more about it. But the regular expressions, I'm using it to define the pattern that the that my f name input, last name input, email input and password input will take, whether it will take space, whether it will take number, whether it will take small letter, whether it will take capital letter and all that, whether it will take special characters. That's what it does. So now you can go online and search for regular expressions for validating f name, first name, last name, email, you find them. So now I have one already here. So this is my name pattern. I'll just copy this, and this is my email pattern I normally use, and this is my password pattern. So this is what I need to validate this. So now I will now use if statement to condition them. So I will use the I will say if first name dot text dot text oh sorry, if name regex dot text f name, then you know that this condition now will return true or false. If name regex dot text f name, what this statement means that if any value entered here, if this, like this pattern now, if any value entered in this f name matches this pattern, it will return true. But if it is not, if it doesn't match, it will return false. So now I will now negate this condition now to be false. So now if any input in this, any value in this f name now did not match this, um now I will now throw my error. I will now throw this error. Now this error will now throw to the user, throw new error like this. First name must contain only letters and space. So like this, I'll just copy this, put this for my last name, do this for my last name, copy this again. Then this now my email pattern dot text dot email. or test email. So now I will now throw error, enter a valid email address, enter a valid email address, email address. Okay, so now copy this. I'll say if not password pattern dot test password. I've already tested all these approve. Already tested disapprove. So I'll now say password doesn't match. Password does not match. Pass. No, enter a valid password. Sorry, enter a valid password. That's it. So we are done with the validation now. So for us to test this API, we need to use Postman to test it. In our last video, we talked about Postman. So we'll not be going to Postman app. So I have Postman right here in my VS Code. So if you don't have Postman, you can get it on the extension of VS Code. So now extensions on VS Code. So here now, if we want to test this our registration API, so now we'll come here, we open Postman, choose the HTTP method, then this none, we are not going to choose none. You either choose form data. Form data will be using form data later on in this course. Form data will be using if you want to upload both text fields and file inputs. So if you want to upload file input and text input, we'll be using form data for that. So but now we'll be using raw. So now this raw now, we will now choose the type JSON. Know that JSON simply means JavaScript object notation, and you know that Node.js is an object oriented programming. So will be every of our data that we'll be receiving as request.body or storing in the our we'll be storing in our database, we'll be making use of JSON. So if I want to return my error messages, I will return them in JSON format and all that. So get it at the back of your mind that we are dealing with an object oriented programming. So this is just it. So now see how JSON is being written. We'll construct this now is standing as the form in the client web browser. I'll write my f name like this, then like this. So what is this? F name Emmanuel comment. So this is how we write our JSON. So this is how we write JSON. I'll just copy this. No, I'll just copy this and paste. I'll just copy this. I'll name this lname. Lname. Then you know that JSON is being written in key value pair. This is the key. Then this is the value. key value pair. So this now is just the placeholder, the request body. So now this is what the value that is you are assigning it to. So now value Emmanuel Ray like this, Emmanuel Ray. So my last name Emmanuel Ray. Then I'll just copy this. I'll just copy this. So then here now put my email is Emmanuel at gmail.com. So I'll just paste this. I'll say password, say password to at. I like using this for my testing. So now remove this because I don't have any other parameters that I want to put. So now make sure that this f name, last name, email, password like this is the same way you write it here so that it won't show you errors. So now because it won't show you errors. So now if we click send now, this is just like the submit button on the form on the client web browser. So if you click on submit, it will come here and perform this function here. So now we need to, but before that we need to you know route it. We need to link it to the route of this our API. So we do localhost normal as we used to do it, localhost plus the port. What's our port? 9000 forward slash then the route, that's registration slash registration like this. So now I want to say const I'm creating an object. Let me call it user data is equal to an object. So I will store this f name that I've validated, last name, email and password. So now I want to console log it. So because it's like this that you grab it, then you now store it in your database. So now let me console log it. If there is any error, it will throw us error in this hour. Let me restart our server. So if there is any error, it will throw us error. So let's cross our fingers and test it. Will say console.log. So the thing responded. This is the response. So now it returns the user data. So now the object, this object now, the user data that I console here, that's what it returned. So now we have successfully made a post request. So that's how it works. That's how post request works. So now you have grabbed this data now. If if this I validated all these stuff, I put the correct ones. Then if I now come here now and put 541, a number, then come here add a stream of this my email, then I now do send, it will throw me an error. It will say first name must contain letters and space. So that's this error. First name must contain only letters and space. So that's the error it will keep throwing until you correct it, until you correct it. So now if I just remove this now, it will go successfully, it will go without throwing me any error. So now that's it. So today we have successfully learned how to make a post request in Node.js. So please don't forget to like this video, comment on the comment section and hit the bell icon to subscribe to this channel. Thank you.